What's up, Vainglory community? It is Cloaken, and I am joined by none other than EdTheShred. This is Kristian Segerstrale, CEO of Super Evil Megacorp. Kristian, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, we've got a big update for you guys around Vainglory Community Edition. We posted a blog over on vainglorygame.com. You can check that out. In fact, I probably encourage you to pause this video if you haven't had a chance to read through that yet. It's a very good top-down look of kind of the status of things from the Super Evil Megacorp perspective, specific to Vainglory Community Edition. So you might just want to pause right here, go take a quick look at that. I'll put the link in the caption below, and then come on back. I've got Kristian here to talk through some of your questions, which I'm sure you have around these decisions, and look forward to diving into those right now. So, Kristian, let's get right to it, man. We've used words like risky or, this effort has been harder than we expected, when we talk about working on Vainglory Community Edition. I'd love to unpack that for the community a little bit more. What exactly are we talking about? Whether that's all the way back to, the first time we announced Vainglory Community Edition and we said there may be pitfalls, there may be things that we are unable to overcome, as well as even some of my recent updates where I've said this was harder than we expected. What does that exactly mean?
Yeah, and to be honest, it's been a tough journey, much tougher than we thought that it would be. When we hatched that somewhat harebrained plan to attempt to do Vainglory Community Edition over that weekend, when we genuinely thought that we might have to shut Vainglory down because we had committed the entire company behind building Catalyst Black while entrusting Rogue, the combination of Rogue and their developer Encore, to take care of Vainglory and build it further. When we got the notice 3 days before that, hey, they're going to shut down the servers, we genuinely had no idea what to do. And our sort of plan A, because we didn't know what else to do, would have been simply just to go along with that plan. And as much as we would have cried, it ultimately shut down the game. But then over the weekend, as LaQuarrie in particular, who runs our engineering, really sat down and thought about, okay, how could we potentially transition this game from being a commercial game into being a community-driven game. He, wrote this plan that we all looked at and we were like, wow, this could actually, it could work.
Yeah.
But we didn't have any time to like vet through it really, and to like say actually with any level of certainty how it would work exactly. We thought that, hey, we're going to retain the same developer as what Rogue had used, a company called Encore, to do some of this work. We thought that broadly, hey, we can sort of have line of sight of the kind of changes we need to make to create this experience that we had lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and so after that, we wrote the post, we recorded that video saying, hey, we have no idea if this is going to work, but we're going to try it because the Vainglory community deserves it. The game deserves it. And I think we as developers, we are, insanely passionate about this, and we just don't want to see it shut down. So we would much rather do something that we actually don't even know if it's been really done in the industry previously, which is to make this game go from being a commercially driven game to being a community driven game. So we embarked on that journey, and then basically, I would say three things went sideways in a pretty major way. The first thing was that we actually turned out we couldn't use that third party developer that we had planned to use because they didn't have the appropriate skills to do what we needed them to do, which meant that all of that work now fell on our team that was already entirely committed on building Catalyst Black on some pretty aggressive timelines.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically ended up trying to do this evenings and weekends.
Yeah.
Then, that could have still worked out. But remember, we hadn't actually touched this code base for about like 9 months as a team.
Mm.
And meanwhile, Apple had upgraded SDKs. There were all sorts of deprecated APIs and other things, like lots of little things, which meant that there was so much maintenance work to even get this build running before we could even do the changes that we needed to do, that I remember feeling so sorry for LaQuarrie in our Monday morning meetings where he was like, I worked all weekend on this, and it turns out the thing that I thought was a 2-hour job, actually it's more like a 5-day
Yeah.
work, and 5 days worth of work, and I need to figure out how to how to do that in my night hours or weekend hours or whatever it is. And ultimately, like after 4 or 5 weeks of trying that, we internally looked at it and just called time and goes, wow, like this is way more than we thought it would be. And at that point in time, the real Kral, our CTO, stepped in and ultimately, corralled the team together. And we said, okay, you know what? We're just going to take whatever time. This may cause a, small delay to Catalyst, but what we need to do is just, honor our commitment here of at least bringing this game to stability of some kind in the phase of 1B in such a way as to at least make sure that, the game isn't entirely broken, that players can at least play it one way or the other, while we then take some time and assess as to what's next, or what we actually can do about it from there. So yeah, lots of I mean, game development is risky. That's the truth of it. But
Yeah.
in this case, we actually did. I mean, we said it was risky, but we didn't quite even, I think, internally internalize just how many things could go wrong as part of that project. And that's why we find ourselves where we are today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And, it's hard talking about something that people care about so much, Vainglory specifically. It's a very, very passionate community. And if there's one thing I have been so appreciative of since joining Super Evil Megacorp is just how much the community loves Vainglory. You guys are amazing. And it's a true testament to the quality of the game that you care for it so deeply. But it's very difficult to talk about another game when the game that people love so much is Vainglory. Catalyst Black has yet to prove itself. People don't even really know what this game is. But I would like to ask you more specifically, why is Catalyst Black so important to Super Evil Megacorp? I get questions all the time. Why don't we just refactor the monetization side of VG? Why don't we do something different? Why don't we market more? Why don't we double down, triple down on Vainglory? Particularly now that we're beginning to see all these other competitors entering the space that Vainglory sort of pioneered. Why is Catalyst Black so important to Super Evil Megacorp?
And that is a really good and really fair question. The truth is, we tried for years and years and years. We love Vainglory. We poured our heart and soul into this product since 2012. And we feel like we broke so many boundaries as a team. Like you guys, the community, the OG community, both in Singapore, the Philippines, and then ultimately over, all around the world, really brought this game to life in ways that we never anticipated or never dreamt could actually be true. And there were so many incredible moments of just gaming that Vainglory brought about, as well as innovations in the industry that we were insanely proud of. The thing that we did though struggle with, I think, pretty much throughout, was to try to work out how do we take this insanely kind of I guess from our perspective anyway, like this game that we love so much, how do we actually translate this into a successful business that really carries the company, like that ultimately ensures that we can be financially successful, pay our salaries, invest into marketing, do all of those things. And that turned out to be a lot harder than we thought that it would. And we constantly, if you recall, throughout Vainglory, we almost every 6 months or so, we always tried a new thing, a new type of skin system, a new type of, we launched the talent system. We tried launching 5v5. We tried launching Vainglory on, as a cross-platform product. We tried esports. We tried lots of different types of marketing in different ways. And we simply struggled with it. And we internally had insane soul searching going on, like for years around, like, how is it that we can create this game that so many people play, and that we have people on average spend like 80 or 90 minutes per day playing, which are insane numbers for mobile games. But we cannot figure out a way without ruining the core experience to actually encourage more people to spend money in it. And that was one of those things where like we literally felt like we were hitting our head against the wall. So when it, by the time that we had ultimately launched it on cross-platform, and we had started prototyping this game that is now Catalyst Black, we simply came to the realization that, look, we are simply not able to do this as a team. We need some fresh eyes on this particular problem.
Yeah.
Then as we started talking to other companies, Rogue came along, and they had some really interesting ideas as to how to simultaneously work on bringing the cost level of the game down with the server costs, and also how to pioneer some other business models and other things that would enable Vainglory perhaps to have an entirely new kind of renaissance growth trajectory, if you like, while letting us as a team kind of take a breather from that problem set, and instead pour all of our kind of learnings from that time, both all the technical advances, all the creative learnings, all the commercial learnings from that, into building a new product, if you like, in the form of Catalyst Black, that wouldn't just push the creative boundaries on the industry, push the technical boundaries of the industry, and just be an inspirational, interesting thing to make, but also be something that would be far, far more straightforward to make commercially successful. And at the end of the day, like as chief exec, like I feel an insane amount of responsibility toward the community of any game that I'm part of making. But I feel even more responsibility toward the people at Super Evil Megacorp, the people pouring their hearts and souls and nights and weekends into making games, making sure that those people and their families, the team here, are entirely safe in the sense that we are financially successful and can create a sustainable long-term future for everybody. Like, that has to be my number one priority, as much as it sometimes goes against my personal gamer priority, if that makes sense. Those are decisions that ultimately I have to ensure that we make. So hence, we have to focus on Catalyst Black as a company to drive that, if you like, financial long-term future. And then ultimately, Vainglory remains something that we care deeply, deeply about. So,
Yeah.
but at this point in time, of course, we've turned off all transactions. So it is no longer a source of any revenue for the company. So, if we have time at some point in time to return to it as a hobby project, that is exactly what it is. And we would love to, do that one day. But at this moment in time, it wouldn't be responsible for us to devote lots of time into a hobby project when the kind of long-term success of the company has to come from a new product.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to ask you some more pointed questions here. Why even begin an effort like Vainglory Community Edition if we're not going to see it all the way through? Now, granted, we're not stopping Vainglory Community Edition. It's going to be out there, so it's not getting killed. But why start it and then not see it through? Why get to a point where we have to make a video like this? And even more cynical, I've seen people ask the question, why not just kill the game outright? And you've spoken to that a little bit already, where it's just like we feel like this is better than the option of just not having it at all. But specific to VGCE, why would we start to not be able to finish it?
Yeah, I think, look, a purely commercially driven team probably would have looked at that decision from Rogue in March and said, okay, well, that's it. We don't have the time, the ability to focus on this right now. Let's let Vainglory get shut down and we'll focus on Catalyst Black. Frankly, not take any responsibility for it,
Yeah.
push ahead with Catalyst Black. But it's just not the company that we are. That's the truth of it. We all really deeply love and care about Vainglory. And we thought that if there's any chance to be able to stabilize the game and allow it to live forever, so that all of us, for one, and also all of the community that we have so much to thank in terms of all of our, our journey so far, would be able to play the game in the future. Like, that felt like it's really worth fighting for, even if that implies some risk. And all of game development is risky, in particular, coming up with a project like this, which hasn't really been done before, is risky. But to us, it really felt like this is a worthy journey. Even if we fail, it's a worthy attempt at it.
Yeah.
And I would like to, in my heart of hearts, I would like to think that those people out there, who are asking these questions, would feel like having access to phase 1B, which at least lets you play the game in a somewhat clean, somewhat stable form, is better than never being able to play the game again.
Right. Yeah. Just a few more questions for you, Kristian. Really appreciate this. We talked about how, in our original pitch on Vainglory Community Edition, in phase 4 of our roadmap, people would have access to their historical profiles, this sense of history that they've had with the game. And I know that there are many out there that, daily hit me up and say, when can I have my account back? Or when can I have that sense of personal, experience over the years that they've spent with VG? What can we say to all those people who feel like they've lost something in their accounts at the present moment?
Yeah, I really feel for those players. I mean, myself, I probably have more than 5,000 or 6,000 games of Vainglory and my Vainglorious bronze status to show off. So I have I really feel for those folks. I will say this: that information is not lost. It does exist in our database. So if we ever manage to ever get back to this, then that information would be something that we can make available. However, I cannot, hand on heart, at this moment in time, promise or say anything about whether we can do that or when we would be able to do it. It really comes down to the fact that my first responsibility and our first responsibility, sort of as a team, has to be to secure like the long-term sustainability of the company as a whole by focusing on a commercially successful product. As much as we and as deeply as we do love the Vainglory experience, and as deeply as we feel the commitment toward the community, to be able to follow through with with the path that we started. So we simply have to prioritize Catalyst Black at this moment in time.
I know you've kind of answered this already, but I want to ask it very specifically because I know that there are people out there who are going to ask it. Do you have any idea when we'll be able to get back to this plan and hopefully arrive at a phase 4 or beyond with Community Edition?
I do not. I wish in my heart of hearts, I wish I could tell you guys, and I would like to say that, you know what, just let us launch Catalyst and then let's figure out how to, get back to this. It's certainly what I would like to do, but it just wouldn't be the responsible thing to say at this moment in time. One of the big learnings I felt that I had from our journey with Vainglory over the years when most of us were working on it was that we far too often ended up in a situation where we had said a thing and created an expectation of something, and then somehow letting the community down by actually doing a thing that is slightly different, either due to an internal misunderstanding or whatever it might be. But we just ended up there one time too many for my own liking. And it's a lesson that I really want to carry forward for the whole company moving forward, simply not to say things that we cannot live up to. In this case, we did say that this project was risky and we may pause it at any moment in time. We are taking the decision to pause it today. I am not, in my heart of hearts, would I love to say that there's a date when we're going to continue. I would love to say that. I'm not going to. I will never say never. It is perfectly possible that we will, but we're not going to give a date at this point.
Got it. Now, what about, we know Vainglory is sort of currently accessible in some more broken forms than other on a variety of platforms. Obviously Apple, iOS, Android, but there's, Steam, Samsung, Amazon. What about these other platforms? Are they going to get updated to 1B? What's going to happen with them?
Yeah, so they will not, is the short answer. We will only update Apple or iOS and Android to 1B. And the reason for this was that already, as I mentioned, the work leading up to 1A and 1B actually turned out to be far larger than we thought it would. They contained a lot of what we internally called quote unquote found work, as in work that we didn't expect to exist. But it turned out that because a lot of things have changed over the past 9 months, there's a lot of work there. As well as a whole bunch of unknowns that we didn't expect to see. And we now, as we have looked around at those other, in particular the PC version, that is a whole additional, if you like, rabbit hole that we don't want to go down at this moment in time. We're hugely passionate about cross-platform play. I play in the family Fortnite squad with my kids, and PC, PlayStation 4, and a Switch. We're incredibly passionate about that experience, and we certainly learned a lot through Vainglory with it. It just wouldn't be responsible for us at this moment in time to commit more resources to try to take the PC platform over to 1B. It's cleaner for us, if you like, to as we pause at this moment in time at 1B to make sure that the versions of the game that are available are as clean as they can be at this moment in time, so that at least we are sort of parking this, if you like, in a place that is broadly stable.
Yeah. Now, I do know that there are a few outstanding bugs with 1B, including skin selection and talents, as well as the missing community art from the contest. Will all of those things get updated before we fully put this on ice for now? I know Tommy's actually probably actively working on the icon piece right now, but what about these other bits? Are they going to get folded in as well?
The community icon will definitely come in, hopefully within the next week or so. The other bits and pieces we can't say at this moment in time. It really truly pains me, but these have to do with, they are platform side, if you like. They are server side bugs whose magnitude we don't know about just yet. And as I kind of have, like I said now a couple of times, and it really does pain me, but we have to focus on the things that are critically important for us as a company and for Catalyst Black as a product in the short term. So as much as I would love to give you guys a date of saying, hey, we will definitely have this fixed by date X, Y, or Z, I'm not going to give you those. I want to make sure that we don't promise anything that we can't keep. Know that we do feel the pain of it, though. I jump into community edition every now and then, and I'm like, come on, right? where are my skins? So know that we do feel you. We do care about it. We just simply cannot give you a date at this point in time as to if or when we will be able to do it.
All right, Kristian. Well, you've survived the grilling. I really appreciate you being here, man. I appreciate your leadership as well. It is in the hard times that I think the quality of one's leadership stands out, and I do appreciate yours. And to the community who's here and who's watched us and who's been a part of this, we are with you. We continue to be with you. If you'd like to read through the blog, if you haven't had a chance yet, it is over on vainglorygame.com. You can take a look in written text of our plans and what the current expectations are. We are obviously still going to be involved. We're going to be on the Discord. We'll be on social media as well. So you can find us there. You can post your questions in the comments here or on all those other various platforms. We'll also, of course, be working on Catalyst Black, so you can always feel free to connect with us on that side of things as well. We really appreciate you guys, and it's been an honor to be a part of this journey. Like Kristian said, I really love the ambition of Community Edition as a developer. I love doing things that haven't been done before, and the idea of taking a game, a mobile first game, and sort of giving it to the community is still something I find extremely exciting. So I too know that I'm on your side, and I'm pushing internally here for us to get back to this as soon and as quickly as we possibly can. So thank you for being here. Kristian, do you have any other final thoughts or kind of words for the community before we sign off?
Just want to say thank you. Thank you for all the support and all the patience, over the years. Those Vainglory tournaments and the Vainglory community, whether that be the OG esports scene with the VPL in Korea, or whether that is let's say the World Championship in Singapore, they provided me with some of my most incredible memories, not even as a game maker, as a gamer, but like as a human being. And
Mm.
I just really massively value anything and everything that this community has done to support us, and to frankly just be there on this journey with us. And even like on a difficult day like today, when we have to pause a project, know that I just appreciate all of you guys and all of the things you guys have done for us. And I truly do hope and wish that we will be able to get back to this at some point in time with some more positive news about Vainglory. And it's so bittersweet in so many ways, because I am personally so excited about like where Catalyst Black is heading toward in general as a company and as a product. I think we're hopefully pushing a lot of different boundaries there, and hopefully some of you guys at least will find it in you to to ultimately try it out, and hopefully see that we've carried over many of the things that we loved as game makers into Catalyst. But know that our hearts are with Vainglory and with you guys, and overall these past few years, or several years now, that we've been working with you guys and building this game together, have been truly magical. So thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here with us, guys. And of course, find us on social. Please do share us your thoughts, your questions, and of course, never settle for the lesser evil.